What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show. I always tell you you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. I was the 2018 award winner in the innovation category given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association, and this is the home of Epic Conversations. And I'm the host of Epic Conversations. And you know I always like to have new friends on the platform, and we have a brand new, well, I've got to know her better over time, and it's great to have Ms. Laura Moon on the platform tonight. And let me just read a little background. And we already have someone who's chimed in, so thank you so much for coming in the room so early. We're going to make sure, unless you want to watch Netflix or something, that you stay here. All right, here we go. Laura Moon is an accomplished sales and leadership executive known for her unique ability to blend compassion and ambition in order to reach any goal. After more than 2 decades leading and coaching and training over 500 leaders and sales professionals, Laura finished her corporate career in the automotive industry as a general sales manager at a Toyota and leaped into entrepreneurship and founded Bare Slate Inc. in 2007. Bare Slate Inc. is a social enterprise with a purpose rooted in helping individuals gain access to ongoing education through effective leadership and core skills training workshops. The organization's founders has over 60 years of combined experience in the corporate world-winning spanning operations. World-spanning operations. Interesting. That sounds pretty...
We can help you anywhere.
Yeah, that sounds TMI-ish, but I'm not going to go there right. Remote teams, leadership, sales, and business development. They have witnessed the results that core skills training can have on the individual, a team, an organization, a community, time and time again. Their clients express measurable and predictable returns on training investments. When you invest in people, your people want to invest their time, innovation, and loyalty in return. Every good business needs an exceptional team members that are willing to reinvest their attributes in today's ever-changing, and especially in today's ever-changing corporate landscape. The organization has a broad range of clients focused in the small to medium business sector, all with diverse backgrounds, ranging from privately held daycares to family enterprises, tech startups, and cannabis enterprises. Laura is going to grace us with her presence tonight and share with us about how can companies navigate through these changing times. And I made it through all of that, and I met... Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, excellent job.
Excellent
job.
I pay myself well. You know,
that's the way to start. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And I had the pleasure of meeting Laura. It was about a month. Yeah, almost a little over a month ago.
Yeah.
At an event for the African Caribbean Business Network, and I was sitting on a panel talking about social media. And Laura and a lady were there. It was held in a classroom, and Laura and this, I don't know if it's assistant or friend of hers.
Kelly. Yeah, Kelly. No, she's on the team.
Kelly, hell up, Kelly. We're just writing all these notes on the side and this and that. And they were just like, I didn't pay them, but they were so good. Like they were able to capitalize on writing wise. I said, okay, so we had a conversation because, you know, I'm the host of Epic Conversations and the home of Epic Conversations. I said, come on down. Dr. Vibe's price is right to come on down to the Dr. Vibe show. So welcome, Laura, for the first time and hopefully not the last time. How you doing this evening?
Thank you. I'm great. I'm excited to be here. And that was a great event. I was invited down by Ryan Knight, who I have been in contact with for a few years because, I have a really strong passion for helping entrepreneurs. I know that the journey is quite the roller coaster, but if you can sort of land somewhere in the middle, it's a little bit nicer. So he reaches out to me every once in a while and we collaborate and talk about things. So he asked me to come down. And Kelly's one of the team members at at Bare Slate. And at Bare Slate, I know. Yeah. I worked... And the beautiful thing of what we were able to do that day was to take all the information that was flowing in the room and really simplify it, which is one of our greatest strengths as a company. And definitely one of my greatest strengths as an individual is to take information, simplify it, and give people something that they can leave with and take with them to develop.
Well,
So there's
and I know, and I really appreciate it because you provided clarity, so people left with something tangible.
right, and that's it. I spent a lifetime trying to learn in theory the way that we're all taught in school, and it just didn't work for me. And
No,
that's my driving passion in life, is to be able to have education for people that they can apply it into their everyday world and understand how to start to take action. Because I think that half the population doesn't learn through theory.
it's so true.
I sure don't. So that
Well,
day, yeah, that's
I could tell that day that you're an action person and you're a practical person. You just want to get into it.
yeah, 100%, 100%.
Wonderful. Well, you did alert a little bit about your past in regards to education. Can you share a little bit of your past with the audience? And I want to shout out, there are a number of people watching on Facebook right now, so thank you very much. And if you have any questions, comments, etc., please make them, and I'll certainly share them with Laura. If you are on the Get Vocal platform, you can actually come into the room and ask a question. If you're on YouTube, you can type out your comments. So, Laura, tell us where this journey started.
Yeah, believe it or not, well, I'm one of 4 kids. I'm the second in line, and I'm a Leo, so very passionate about winning. And I've always loved sales, and I love conversation. I think that conversation, just like you, and I think that's why you and I vibe so well, is that we feel connections in conversation, and I think they're so critical for people to share a bond and start to grow together and collaborate. And I've always sort of been, I realized actually today was pretty interesting. I realized what a social being I really am, because, I've been home with my kids and my family for the past 3 days and haven't gone out, just trying to respect the world today. And I decided that I went to university, but in high school it was really difficult for me. I was sort of always that kid that, the teachers, I've been hearing my whole, you're going to do something great. You're going to do great. But, I wouldn't bother going to university. I think you're really smart, but I don't think you know how to get the information out of your head. And that was the lovely words of a guidance counselor that I had in high school. But I went on to university, and then I decided that I just wanted to work, and I started as a manager in my early 20s, working for the Sheraton Hotel, and I learned hospitality management. I went through their program. And then I realized that I was only going to be able to make so much money. So I went into automotive because I felt like there's such opportunity and there's so many conversations. So I started in automotive. Gosh, I can't remember what year it was, but it was too long ago. And at that time, I think I was the only female salesperson for Acura in the country.
Okay, I just want to put a stop on that. First of all, why did you make the transition from hospitality to automotive? And was there any pushback being the only lady in that environment?
You know what? I had a fantastic manager. I remember this is how long ago it was. I remember flipping through the yellow pages
Oh,
or the
wow.
phone book going, where should I work? What do I want to sell? What do I want to sell? And I've never been afraid of asking for what I want, obviously. And automotive opened up, and then Acura came up, and I thought, I can do cars, no problem. And downtown was the closest dealer. So I called up the store and I said, are you guys hiring? And the sales manager said no. And I said, well, I'm going to come and see you tomorrow anyway. And he said, okay. And
Oh, my.
I know, I have no fear of asking. And I went and met him, and he said, okay, well, you can start tomorrow. And so I came in the next day, and he played a bit of a joke on me, but it was his test to see whether or not I'd be good. And he called me in his office and said, okay, Laura, I need you to, there's a customer coming today to pick up their car, but it's missing a door. But I still need you to get the customer to take it. And I said, okay, well, is it the driver's door? Which door is it? Is it the passenger's door? And he said, look, it's down in the service department. Go and check with the guys. So I said, okay. I can do this. I went downstairs and looked at it. The mechanics all started making fun of me. And I came back upstairs and I said, "You're buddy." And he said, "You are going to be amazing because I can train." Because I was willing to do anything at that point, So I didn't really get a lot of pushback. I really enjoyed the guys. I was always sort of the girl with all the guys. And we had a lot of fun. And I just sort of moved through my career. I spent, 20 years in automotive. I went from a sales consultant to a business manager to a sales manager to a general sales manager. And when I left, I was running a dealership. And so therefore, for years, I was hiring and training sales consultants and working in a pretty diverse industry. But I got to a point where I wasn't really challenging myself or learning anymore. And that's when I decided that, I had 2 little kids at home. It's time to sort of step back and reevaluate and find where the value is going to live in my life, in my retirement, in my older age. So here I am.
Where did you get your boldness from?
Good question. I feel like, I was sort of always that kid that just would go for whatever I wanted. It didn't really bother me. I didn't really worry about what other people thought or said. And if there was something that I don't like hearing no very well. And so I learned how to be gently persuasive when I needed to be. And I just never feared. I love the word no, because at least someone's heard me. And I think that it's really important that we all ask for what we want. That's one of the most important things that I've tried to share with my kids or anyone that I'm with, is that you have to ask for what you want. And if you don't know what you want, then we need to figure out what that looks like. And usually, even if you go further from there, it's people generally don't know what they want because they don't know who they are. And they don't know where they should be. So
how different, if we look at the young Laura, growing up Laura,
yeah.
and we look at
Yeah.
Laura of today, how different? How much the same?
I think I'm pretty much the same. I don't think I've really changed that much. It's funny. I remember standing in the hallway of the school that my kids go to, and it's a really long hallway, and it's elementary school. And this girl at the end of the hall yells, "Laura Moon!" All the way down, and she's like, "I knew that was you. I could hear you laughing." And I hadn't seen this girl since, oh my gosh, I think grade 9. And I'm 50, so it was quite some time. And this happened, and I thought, she's like, "You're the same." So I don't feel like I've changed that much. I'm not too afraid. Maybe, no, I still am willing to take risk. I haven't changed much.
So how did your family handle your boldness at a young age?
When I was probably 2, they called me a bulldozer. And yeah, that was my nickname when I was little.
Bulldozer.
Yeah. I just plow through, I think I'm a little more graceful today than I was then. They were good. I'm a child of divorce. So my parents didn't really pay too much attention, to be honest. And I think maybe that's part of where my courage came from, because I was very self-sufficient. I was the kid that went to the private school with a family that had the money. There's no question. But I was the kid on my bicycle with my hockey bag trying to get to play sports with teams, and half the time my neighbors would look at me and offer to drive me because I was sort of that kid that was sort of left to your own. And I think I learned how to take care of myself. I've paid for myself my whole life, and I'm just yeah.
What?
Plus, it's my brothers. They drove me nuts. So. Well, that's, yeah. Anyone who has brothers.
What lessons did your journey in the corporate world teach you?
Gosh, I think a couple things. I remember a couple of my managers, one in particular, Margaret Reddings, when I was in hospitality. And I remember she was the first one that really scared me. She taught me how to make sure that I was ready to answer any possible challenges that I would face if I wanted something. So be prepared when I ask, do the research before you come into my office and talk to me about something. So that was a really great learning lesson in corporate. I think the other thing when I was in automotive, I was always, until people really got to know me, they thought I was, someone's secretary or receptionist. But I wasn't. I was the same level with the boys. I mean, I was running a dealership. So I would definitely, I learned to be confident in when I had an opinion or an idea and to just share it. Because I was intimidated for sure. There's no question. And there were times, when I would turn to one of my sales managers and say, you know what, I'm not in the mood to play this game. Just go. Be the man and just go. Because some days it was just too much. But I realized that if you stick your ground and stay true to who you are and have the confidence and do the research so that you're prepared, you can ask and overcome anything with anyone.
Wonderful. Just want to shout out some people who have chimed in on the Get Vocal platform. One of my brothers from another mother, Kinte Ferguson, from the left coast out in Cali, and he is asking me if I can appear on one of his conversations this Wednesday. So he's going to be asking me about myself. Don't know what. Nice. I don't know if it's going to be anything interesting, and we're going to talk about the virus thing that's going on. And on the Facebook platform, one of my mentors, Dr. Marvin Thompson, has chimed in and came in. So thank you so much, gentlemen. Respect always. When did you decide to leave the corporate world? What was the reason? What was the reason saying, you know what, it's time to do something on my own?
I think honestly for me, it was just, I was sort of at the point where I was doing a disservice to my team. My greatest rewards are the sales managers that I raised to go out there and run dealerships. And they were my victory, and the team that I worked with, I just felt like I wasn't putting my all into it anymore. I wasn't learning. So I decided that I would stop. At the same time, I owned a restaurant. So I've always sort of been fairly ambitious. But I had decided I'll leave automotive. I sold the restaurant and I stepped back and thought, what do I really want to do now? Now is an opportunity for me to sort of move into something that I feel really powerful about. And I've always loved working and training with people. I love really supporting just anyone who had the reason why I called the company Bare Slate is because I believe that you can start with anything from the bare bones. As long as you have support and a plan, you can make it happen. And I know a lot of people really struggle with the plan. And I know that that's what people are going to be struggling with right now today with this virus. Really, what's the plan? Because everyone right now today is facing sort of this black wall and nobody knows what's on the other side and nobody knows what the possible outcomes are going to be. And I wanted to just help organizations in the small to medium business sector to find their footing and build the foundations of their business so that they'd have something that was worth selling, and
right.
So I started Bare Slate. Yeah.
And that's great. And so let me ask, do you remember the first day of business?
Yes, that clear as day. I remember I just named the company and I thought I'm not going to put too much into it. This is what it's going to be. Here's the site and I need a client. And so I'd gotten a phone call from a friend and she said, I really need you to talk to my brother. He needs some help. And I said, no problem. So I called him and he is the owner of a craft distillery called the White Distillery. And I helped him. He was my first client. I helped him get his alcohol onto the shelves of the OCBO and had 3 successful sellouts. So he's now on the shelves. So he was my first client and a lovely human being, and we had great success together. So I'll always remember him. And that was the first day I started the business. So I thought, okay, something's going to be right here. This has got to be So
Nice. Kinte is saying Laura Moon is a character name from American Gods.
yeah, you got it. But
Okay.
I am not the dead wife. Okay, I'm not the dead wife.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
so
yeah. American Gods.
Bare Slate has been around for a minute now, and
Oh yeah, I originally, the business started way back in 2007,
yeah,
and it was really what we were doing at that point, and it was sort of part time. I really moved into it full time in the past. I think it's been just over 2.5 years that I've been really full time on the company. We had started actually taking professors and recording their lectures at U of T and converting them on DVDs so that they could take it to students who couldn't make it, or they could take it home and review their lectures to get better at it. So that's what the business actually originally started with. And we just sort of did odd jobs off and on while I was still in my career.
right.
And so we've always sort of been in that digital space, training space. It's just now it's full time.
Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
That is great success. Bare Slate. What are some of the services that Bare Slate offers at this time?
So we still have the digital offering. So we really strongly believe that if you have any kind of courses or any information that you have that lives in your company, that you should make it digital. Everyone should have a digital presence, especially today. We focus on mobilizing teams so that they can understand how to learn remotely. Unfortunately, right now, people aren't going to have the opportunity to transition to that. So we've condensed, what we would like to roll out in 3 months into a week.
What?
Because you have to.
Yeah, you
people
have
are
to
being.
Yeah.
There's no choice. So anyone who sort of stepped back and said, "Oh, we don't need to do that yet. We don't need to mobilize. We don't need to have remote teams," are now saying, "Yeah, I think we need to work on that. That's a little important right now." And we're seeing, and I'm sure you see it. How do you stay home in a home office and work when you've got kids? Because everybody's home with kids. So that's one of the offerings we do. So we can convert digital content to online classes. We can bring them in so that they can use them again. We work, part of my stint in automotive was managing HR. So I spent 5 years managing an HR department. So creating policies and procedures, making everything digital for onboarding staff is really a big piece of our business. The other piece is the core skills training. I think that everyone, what they don't realize is that these skills, you're not born with them. You're not born with just knowing how to manage your time. That's something that you need to learn, and you don't need to just learn it. You need to practice it, and you need to practice it a lot for it to become fluid. So core skills are time management, communication, how to have a good, strong conversation with your staff, right? How to deal with confrontation, how to walk into a conversation and walk out that's with a healthy conversation, how to hold yourself accountable, right? It's not, accountability has nothing to do with willpower. It's all about scheduling your activities and understanding what they are. So the core skills is a really big piece of it. So those are the two main.
No, that is really good stuff. And it's just as I was having a conversation with an associate today, and I've been telling him for years and years and years, you need actually 2 conversations today. One with a major, well, in a few days client. I think I had shared with you who it is. And they were saying, we've got to maybe start looking at things differently because of what's going on with all this and that. I said, well, why don't we do a digital town hall? Oh, well,
Yes.
Will that take a long time to set up? No, if you hire me, I already do the stuff. So we can get it to market quickly. I guess we'll parking lot that opportunity because obviously you have expertise in it. I may have a little. No?
Absolutely. Yeah. And, one of the things that I'm pushing for people to do, and I honestly don't care if it's me who does it. I just want someone to do it, make sure you're having facilitated meetings. I mean, if you're in a sales team and you have scrums every morning, still do them. You know, your teams need that right now. Your teams need that stability. And if you don't know how to do it, if they call you or they call me, great. You know, as long as they're doing it.
Yeah.
Because you have to continue to support your team through these times, and you have to look for ways to keep the communication flowing. And so I really push for facilitated meetings. You know, someone needs to be there helping people, if they haven't done these types of meeting before, sort of walk them through the rules of engagement and how to have the conversation and keep planning. You know, keep planning.
I wish I would have known about Bare Slate back in 2007. I would have asked to get on your team. Yeah. I'm telling you.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun. We have such a great team, and we have a lot of fun. And I think again, you know, it's just important that we support each other right now, especially in this time, and really understand where we're going. I think there's a lot of people that are going to be forming biases.
I just want to interrupt a few things we got to shout out to. First of all, want to say hello to Jim Kennedy, who's on the YouTube platform, longtime associate. Good to hear from him. And some young lady named Nicole Gerard is sneaked in via the YouTube channel. Nicole, thank you so much. I miss you not being here, but you're here. I wanted you in a screen, so I'm wanting you to come to the Dr. Vibe show one day and make your presence, because I want to find out more about.
She is not camera shy, so I'm sure that will happen.
Well, I know she does this sort of stuff, so I'm very happy to see that she's yes, deal. Well, Nicole, you've got to give me contact information, because I'm like Laura. I can be a beast at times, and a good beast, that is. Yeah. Once I get your contact information, you're hearing from me within 24 to 36 hours. So I want to have you on to hear some of the spectacular stuff that you are doing and have been doing, because as Laura mentioned earlier on, I like to do research. Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
This is good. I like to do a conversation and set up the next conversation. So while I've been on this conversation, one person wants me to come on their platform, and I'm getting another person on. So I'm always making it happen. So let's get to our main conversation piece tonight. You know, during these challenging times, how, in your opinion and Bare Slate's opinion, are best practices navigating through these changing times?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you know, making sure that you're continuing with conversations with your team. I think there's a lot of companies right now that are, you know, you're in either one of two mindsets. You're either really optimistic that this is going to pass and a little bit of denial, or you're absolutely living in fear, and you are watching everything that is going to antagonize your anxiety and cause tremendous tension. And I think you have to remember and sort of step back right now that no one knows where we're going or what's going to happen. But one of the things that makes a human being feel comfortable and safe is when they can take some sort of action. So I think that every leader out there right now in any kind of management role needs to understand the responsibility that comes with that, and really step back and create a plan for their teams. And the first place to start is communication. You know, open up the channels of communication. Be transparent that you know, as a leader, I mean, I don't know if you've ever had the opportunity to read the Book of Power, but when I think about that, it goes against a lot of what today's beliefs are. And I think that you need to be transparent with your team. I think you need to be vulnerable with your team. But I also think that you need to try and control what's happening and where you're going. So sit down and take a minute now, because this is the first time, it's definitely been the first time for me that I feel that I have the time to sort of step back and look at what's happening. And I think that business leaders should do that. Step back, take a look, take a breath, realize that, you know, that they need to sort of set their mindset to be in the middle and communicate with their team about what's happening. And even if they don't know what's happening, communicate to their team and ask for ideas and suggestions and feedback, and start to create the plan. of how they're going to get through the next couple days or weeks or months.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. Then, like, if you don't mind me asking, what you mentioned the word transparency and leadership.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
those two words together.
So I want you to expand on that in regards, because one of the most used words these days is transparency, whether it's personal and professional. Yeah. What should, if I give you the term transparent leadership, what do you define? Mm-hmm. What does it look like? Should it look like, especially in these times?
I think it's really important for people to communicate really where they're at. You know, as a leader, there's sort of this, you're believed to have all the answers, and no leader has all the answers. And I think that when we appeal as a human being, as a leader, we can then be more transparent. So if I'm trying to think of an example, well, I'll tell you a great example. My God, when I had to be transparent in leadership, I don't know if you remember the recall with Toyota, but that was a pretty big one to survive. I mean, we had our dealerships shut down. We couldn't sell or deliver cars. And I think for me at that point, I just rallied my troops and said, honestly, I don't know where we're going. I know that this is what's happening, and I kept them up to date on everything that I could to keep them informed so that they felt confidence in the information that they were getting. And I think that a lot of leaders will hold back information out of fear. And I think that transparency to me is being willing to share the information that you have, being willing to admit that maybe sometimes you don't have the greatest ideas or that you don't know. And be open to unlearn what you've learned in the past. You know, I have a podcast that comes out every Tuesday morning, and last week's session was about how to start to be open to unlearn. And I think that being open to unlearning is a form of transparency in leadership. Be willing to accept that your conversation could change halfway with your staff or with your team or whoever it is that you're working with. And be willing and open to see the other side. I think that there's a lot of stubbornness and ego in leadership, and to me, that needs to change.
When we're looking at what's going on these days, when you look at the business landscape, what percentage of businesses out there do you feel are prepared for it, and then what percentage of businesses are not prepared for it?
Gosh, I think that, I mean, I was mostly impressed with Starbucks. Yes. I'll start there, the communication and the information that came out of there. And, I think we can see the big leaders who, like Google and Microsoft and Apple, came out right away with their statements and acknowledgement of what's happening and having the courage to close their stores or shift their staff and make incentives to support their teams. In times like this, really shows the leaders in the group. There's no question. And when you look at those organizations, they all have, performance pieces built into their environment. They all have the openness to learn in their environment, and they all have the support in the organizations. I don't know. I don't think I can answer the question specifically because I don't know. But when I look at the industry in the small business sector, I assure you that there's a lot that won't survive. I know that there's going to be a very big open gap of in that sector because there's not enough foundation and there's not enough fluid currency, to be honest. I mean, you need to have quite a bit of money invested and protected to survive these times. You look at anyone who's got an e-commerce platform right now, if they don't have a product because they can't get it, then what are they going to do? And are they going to be courageous enough to shift the direction of the organization to be able to withstand this time? Because we don't know if it's, I'm fairly confident this isn't going to go away in a month. You look at what happened in China, it started in December, and they're still They were there a couple months in, and to be able to repair that kind of economy. Plus, I mean, I've owned a restaurant. I know what it's like to not have
Yeah.
customers. You don't have customers. How do you pay your staff? The price of food goes up. I mean, gosh, one of our biggest sales in the restaurant business was brunch, big brunch place that I ran or owned. And, strawberries one weekend would be $3 and then the next weekend they're $10. I mean, how do you keep your price of brunch the same when strawberries change that much? So it's that small sector is going to get hit really, really hard unless they were able to have money in the back end, right? I mean, it's going to be interesting times.
So, and you mentioned about the e-commerce. We're in a digital age, and it still catches me off guard. I know obviously there could be a number of reasons, resources, lack of money, but how many organizations had the opportunity to really maximize digital to the capabilities that were available to them, and they haven't done it. And now, as we were saying earlier, they're now wanting to get on board.
Well, 'cause they have no choice, right? I mean, if we can put off something that's an added expense that we don't think is a necessity, we can't see the future. So it's always sort of the last thing. It's very classic of training. I mean, I think about it. The company that I work for, the Toyota dealership that I worked for, the owner was very progressive, very optimistic in future vision. And, we were the first ones to really bring in a human resources department and start to invest in the people. These are times, the businesses that are going to survive today are the businesses where their staff will still show up, even if they don't get a paycheck, because they believe in the fact that you're going to keep taking care of them, and you have been taking care of them. If you can create an environment where your team feels that protected and that safe, they're gonna give back when you need them to give back. And that's investing in your people, and it's so important.
Interesting you've said that, because there's been times in my journey that I've invested in what the organization was all about, but the leadership was lacking.
Yeah, it's not. I always say this. I think, everyone deserves the right to have a good leader. Everyone deserves the right to know what that feels like. And if you've ever had one, you remember who they are. And you certainly remember the ones that were no good.
Me.
And right? So think about what that means to you. And if you're a small business owner right now, that's going to make or break you. So invest in your people, and help your people learn and grow and advance in their careers, and, develop the skill sets that's going to help them. And that's what we do. That's my goal in life, is to provide that support. And, and businesses, frankly, don't have an excuse, because we get government funding for it. If you want to hire us to come in and train your team, and give them an opportunity to advance and grow and help you build in every area. I mean, we've worked with companies that their revenue's gone up 25% in 3 months because we've taught their teams how to communicate and how to reach out to people. And the government will cover up to 85% of our cost because we're coming in to help educate people. We want these small businesses to survive. And so does the government. I mean, they see that. They see that a small business, in order to sustain growth in any economy or in any environment, they need their people, and their people need to be skilled. And core skills are the one thing that, will make or break you. I'm telling you, if you can source motivation in the worst of times and your team will still rally for you, you have an opportunity to survive versus someone who doesn't.
And myself-in-law, we're living in a province, Ontario, which is comparable to a state in the United States. So when she says the government will invest,
I'm sorry. Yes, I gotta be specific.
I have a worldwide audience, so no problem. It's okay.
Yes.
And you mentioned about good leadership. And when you're saying you remember the good leaders, one of the and I've had a few of them, but one of the leaders I remember the most. There are actually two gentlemen. I'll highlight one of them. Many, many years ago, when I had hair, I used to work at Adidas Canada in their inside sales department. And at the time, I think they probably still do now. Of course, being an athletic brand, they had an indoor fitness facility, and the president at
Mm-hmm.
the time, should I mention his name? I still, yeah, okay, I'll mention his name. You mentioned one of your bosses' name. His name was Tom Wright, and when I started with the company, he
Yeah.
had ran in the Boston Marathon. He'd completed the Boston
Oof.
Marathon. So one night I'm working out,
Nice.
and he's on the treadmill, just going, going, going. I'm in the change room, and I'm sitting there, and he comes in, and he says, "Hey, how you doing?" I said, "Fine." He says, "Let me tell you something." And he said, "Look, if you find a better opportunity than here, you go for it." I'm going, "What the heck is he telling me
Mm-hmm.
about you?" He said, "You know what? He said, if me, Tom Wright, if I left Adidas Canada tomorrow, it would still be here."
Yes.
And
That's a
then
good
on top
leader.
of that, he then a few months after went to be president of Adidas America, and he came back after a year because he missed his family too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's amazing the
yeah,
journeys
and
we
to
go
him,
on.
he was just. I said, he was just, and he never raised his voice. He never raised his voice, even when he was upset. He never
Mm-hmm.
raised his voice. He commanded, even though he didn't. He commanded respect, even though he didn't ask for respect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which, I mean, obviously is really important, right? I mean, that's the one thing, and it sounds like
Oh
it's
yeah,
important to you that it's
yeah. Well, I
respect.
think people want. I think employees want to be treated fairly, right?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
yeah, a
Imagine.
unique concept about fairly. So let
Yeah.
me ask, what the businesses you either are dealing with now or you keep in touch with, how
Yeah.
are they handling this period of the journey?
It's there's one of my companies is actually very comfortable and will be fine. A big tech company that is building sensor technology, and they're used to working remote. We do a lot of one-on-one sessions with them that is
Yeah,
remote already, so it's a very comfortable platform for them. So they're not feeling it at all. Another one of my organizations is they're hosting one of the largest cleaning conferences, sustainability conferences, and it's coming up, and they're in the throes right now of trying to decide whether or not they're going to keep it going. And they are just running around crazy because they're probably the only ones in the city that has toilet paper.
wow.
So they are a distributor. So they are feeling it a lot, and it's great they have business opportunity. At the same time, it's very difficult to manage it because now this is the time where, have you done the work? And thank God they have. I mean, we worked with them with identifying their ideal clients and who their most valuable clients are, and how to manage the conversations with clients when things are difficult, because they're not going to make all of their deliveries. I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. They are trying to keep up with it. So just having the channels of communication with the team, and even moving into more of a lean work environment, they're actually going to be okay because we worked a lot with them to understand how to do those things. So there isn't really anyone right now. So those are two of the clients that I'm the most involved in. But other than that, it's just, I think the smaller independents are going to
Yes.
be struggling, and I'm just really hoping that we can be here. Nicole and I are working to put some sort of support together so that we can have weekly meetups with some of the people that are small businesses that we work with, just to be able to share conversations about where they're at, what they've tried, what they're doing, just to keep the communication flowing, just as a support system for them. Because, I don't know if anyone has the answers
No,
right now,
I don't
you
think
know?
anyone has the answers, but I think people should not wallow. But this, I
Oh,
no, but I'm saying
yes.
I look at this as a great opportunity time. That's
Yes. And
yeah,
entrepreneurs, they should
yeah,
be at this moment. They should
and
be.
and just getting yourself online, like whatever, if it's doing something on Instagram Live. Like one of my major mentors, he's decided to go on Instagram Live every day for the next month and just do like open forum, open town hall. You've been doing that
Yes.
sort of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yep. Yeah. We will be doing things like that as well. I think it's really
Good.
important.
I'm
Yeah.
waiting for that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we will be. I think that, again, I talked about having bias in this time. They're either thinking that it's going to pass or they're living in fear. So let's start talking about looking at all of the news networks, not just the negative. And like you're saying, as an entrepreneur now is an opportunity to sit back and plan and create and look at the opportunities that are going to present themselves versus moving into isolation. Because a lot of people in fear, they retract and they move into isolation. And I think it's our job to keep them out of that and to keep them talking so that they don't become paralyzed by today. And start to show that there's opportunity in collaboration and conversation and working toward common goals and just helping each other at a time like this. I know we're Canadian and we care and, we're that kind of people and we say thank you and we're sorry. So now's the time to really step up and be Canadian and help our fellow entrepreneurs and continue the conversation. And everyone in the States who's on the call right now, we're all in the same boat. I mean, our border's open because we're so tightly knitted with everything. So I think we need to really help each other is what we need to do at this
Absolutely. I
time.
also want to shout out some other people that have shown some love on the Facebook side. Danielle L. McDowell, Shari James, and Louise Noel Ambrose. Thank you so much for liking the conversation on the Facebook Live platform. I fully agree with you in regards to this. And I take a parallel that I if you look at a scale, the more fear, the less trust.
Yes, of course.
And the less
yeah.
fear, the more trust. And the
trust.
way you can bridge that is the conversation piece that you've mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, just being invited to speak and share your opinion is going to ground you as a human being. It's going to bring you value. And at the very least, we have the opportunity to do that with a lot of people. And I think that it's important that we continue to do it and to continue to pull people out of that. We've got a lot of time now. We need to not make decisions based out of fear because a lot of entrepreneurs and small businesses right now are scrambling in fear. And, my ask is that they take a minute to step back and really take a look at what's happening and what they can control, what are their controllables, and promise themselves not to make decisions based out of fear because those are the worst decisions that we could ever make.
Well, and on the Facebook Live side, my man Ahmed, he's saying, he's very much into hedge funds and things like that. He's based out of the United States. And he says, this is the climate that his business thrives in.
Okay. So
this is so Pete, and he is going to, I know, take big advantage of this environment. I think that a lot of people should also don't think short term. Whatever.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, for
can
sure.
you just address about the?
I don't think you should ever think short term.
A lot of people do though. They're like I said already. They're already thinking about when this is going to be over, and some of them will retract back to their old ways.
Yeah, let's hope not. Maybe they won't be able to, right?
They have no. Yeah,
we'll find out.
Wait, give me. And now you. Let me put it this way: if you have some best practices that you would suggest to a potential client, okay, actually, let's role play right now. Actually, let's play.
Sure, okay, I love role play. No problem.
What kind of business am I? Let me see. I'm gonna think, and it just came to me. So let's roll. Okay, say I own.
Okay.
What kind of business? What kind of business? Okay, say I own. Here's a good challenge. I own a fitness business, a workout place.
Okay.
And I'm going, Laura. Oh my gosh, this time in the journey, it's gonna freak me out. How can Bare Slate help me? How can Laura and Nicole get me out of this?
Okay, my first question is: were you smart enough to capture all of your guests or your gym members'
Yes, I do have.
emails?
I do have them. Yeah.
Okay, okay. And have you communicated with everyone to let them know that you're still hosting classes
Well,
remotely?
we are hosting classes remotely. We're telling them we're shut down, but we're saying, okay, is there anything else we can do to keep them engaged with us other than because the remote classes? Is there anything that you would suggest, Bare Slate would suggest on any other opportunities on getting them engaging with us so they can know, like, and trust us so that we get out of this,
Yeah.
we can get them.
So what? My question to you as the business owner: why do people come to your gym?
They come to the gym and I realize that there's a lot of gyms out there, but what they say
Of course,
about us, they
yes.
like right from the front desk, they're treated with respect, and we have a friendly
Right.
staff.
Okay, so they come because it's social.
Yeah, because there's a lot of gyms out there, and when I
Okay.
started the business, I wanted to make sure that the customer service aspect was excellence because I believe practicing.
They're Disney
Yes,
cast members. Disney cast
yes.
members, right? Okay, well, so we've acknowledged one thing. One reason why they come is because there's a social element to it. Is there a way that you think that you can sustain that social element even with not seeing them physically every day? Is there something you could do as a gym that could do that for people?
Well, I have ideas, but since you're the guru, I'd love to hear what's coming.
But this is, well, you know, I believe that unless you try things, you won't know. And perhaps if that's one of the leading factors that people come to your gym is to stay social, then let's set up a Slack channel and let's start sharing our stories and sharing our gym experiences, maybe sharing meal plans or things that we're finding interesting or whatever. And, you know, that's just one point of contact, but we need to have multiple ideas
Okay,
like
what's
that.
Slack? I know what it is,
Slack?
but in my
Slack is okay. I'm so sorry,
no.
everyone out
What's
there.
Slack, Laura?
Slack is no. You know what? I would have said the same thing. It's just a communication tool that you can get people together on, and you can create a channel. There's no video unless you want to post a video, but it's really just staying in touch with people, sharing information, sharing content. And funny enough, Slack came to life in 2008.
Okay.
So that speaks to when opportunities present themselves in very trying times. And some of the leading companies that are out there today that are interesting enough, Slack is one of them from that time. So they were an organization that saw an opportunity or a need and created a platform that was able to keep people together to share information and collaborate in teams. Very simple, easy platform to use. If you have a team, I strongly recommend that you get them onto Slack. I'm not a Slack partner or anything, but we use Slack. Took me a while to adapt to it. You know, I sometimes act 50 for sure and have a hard time unlearning. But now that I've got it down, it's probably one of the greater tools that I have access to collaborate with my team.
Do you think it'd be a good idea as the owner of the gym to maybe do a weekly Facebook Live if anyone has any questions?
Absolutely. I mean, this is for sure. I'm not going to say it's not a good idea. I mean, we don't know if an idea is good until we test it. So let me ask you this, Mr. Gym Owner. What else have you got going on?
In regards to what? Personally or professionally?
No, right? Like, I mean, this is your business, right? This is your business. If you care about your business, then you've paid attention to your customers. You understand why they're coming to your gym. Why are they showing up every day? Is it because someone treats them nice? You can still treat them nice and make them feel part of the family. You don't have to see them every day. We know that. It's, you know, I'll tell you a best practice today, right now. If someone reaches out to you that's soliciting and trying to get your business, email them back. You know, email them back and say, thank you so much for reaching out to me and having the courage to continue. Even if I don't need your service, I'm just going to tell you that that's awesome. Keep going, because someone will say yes, because they may need it. And that is to me, one of the most important things we can do right now as
Well,
a human
your
being.
partner in crime is on fire. She goes, Nicole says, I develop family workouts to live stream too. Lots of kiddies at home. No, that's a great idea. They're absolutely,
Yeah,
it's
no,
actually very
yeah.
interesting because I have a younger lady who I've mentored over the years who's just on the verge of opening up her own co-working space for fitness professionals.
Great.
And it's going
Very
in,
cool.
and I mean, been going through the struggle, and I saw her a few weeks ago, and they're about ready to sign the agreement, etc. And she was always hesitant to do video.
Well, I mean, everybody's afraid, right? I mean, I have to say, when I released the podcast and I started getting out there, it's the most naked I've ever felt in my life. Am I going to get judged? And I'm pretty confident, but there's always sort of that doubt. And especially in women, we are so good at saying, I'm sorry.
That's a tweetable.
And, we need to stop. I mean, why are we sorry? What are we sorry for? We need to own what we want to do, and we need to have the confidence and power to push through and believe in ourselves, right? And it's the second that we can start doing that, we'll get places. So I will support that girl in any way I can. So make sure you share your information with me, because I'll reach out to her.
I told her when she does her grand opening, I want to say a few words in honor of her at the grand opening. And again, and even more so now, because fitness professionals, they don't have any place to do their stuff right now. So there's another marketplace that, as Nicole said, doing these workouts online.
Yeah. Yes, of course. Yeah, this is what, and you know what, especially if you're a fitness professional today, let me tell you how many stay-home moms, or not stay-home moms, but moms that aren't stay-home are at home right now, and they're trying to work, and they have kids.
Yeah.
I mean, I had one of those days. So it's if you can be a fitness instructor and you can tie in an activity with someone's kids today, yeah, I would have logged into that exercise for myself and my children.
Before we go any further, just want to shout out one of my favorite people online, Dr. Tachi, who hosts the livest online broadcast about media tech and pop culture. It's called Mediascope. She's based out of Florida, and it's Instagram Live, 5 p.m. Eastern Time every Wednesday, then 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Facebook Live, Periscope, LinkedIn Live, and WJMS Radio. So there you go. And actually, there she goes. And she's a choreographer, and she's thinking about doing some dance classes online.
Perfect. Now's the time. Get out there, get people involved. People are sitting at home, and let's get them off the couch, and let's keep them productive and proactive and moving. We got to keep going, guys. It's not just being home doesn't mean that we have to stop.
Well, I don't want to take up any more of your positive, productive time, because you've had a rather crazy day. But do you have any closing comments, some things you'd like to share with the audience out there before we let you go?
Yeah, I would just love to say, if you're interested in learning more about our work or learning more about our formulas for success when it comes to core skills, you can go to our podcast. It's actually on our website. If you go to bareslate.ca, so BARESLATE.ca, you'll see all of our course offerings, the workshops we have, the podcast. And please reach out to me. I will answer. Any of my team will answer. We want to keep the conversations going. We want people to feel confident and have clear minds right now, so that they can make decisions that aren't based in fear. And we're here to help.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
And I'd just like to say thank you for making the time to come on and share with us.
Yeah. No, I've loved every minute of it.
And I hope
Thank
you come back again. Like, if you want to come back every month and give a tip or a best practice suggestion, I would love to have you back.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure.
Because there were people on each one of the platforms that I shared this on tonight. So that is a good thing. That is a good
Wonderful.
thing. So I'm going to, before we shut it down, I'm just going to shout out people who are on. So Kinte, thank you very much. Also Leah, also Dr. Tachi. They were on the Get Vocal platform. On the YouTube platform, we had Jim and, of course, Ms. Nicole, who's going to come on. She's going to come. She's got to keep to her word now. She's got to do that now. And then on the Facebook Live platform, we had Ahmed. We had, I know I'm forgetting some other people. And that, okay, you know what? I'll find a way of getting them. Yes, Danielle, Danny Stone, Sherry James. I know there's Kevin Messam. Yes, all these people. And if I forgot your name, it's because of my head, not my heart. That's the way we roll.
Yes.
So I like to say thank you, everybody, for watching live on the replay. As always, I like to shut it down with this. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions, then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Remember those things. So God bless. Peace to all. Keep
Love
the
it.
faith. And coming up this Wednesday, which is the 18th, I'm going to be on Kinte's conversation on Get Vocal. He's going to be asking a little about me. I don't know what. and then on Thursday evening, tentatively, I'm gonna have a conversation with a good associate friend of mine, Robert Leung. We're gonna talk about this is the best opportunity for manhood to thrive.
Yep.
And then
Absolutely.
And on Saturday
Wonderful.
on another platform, I'll be hosting a cross Canada conversation for Black Canadians. And it is about, let me find it quick, folks. Gotta tell you, because on the 21st is a special day. So just bear with me a second. Yes, it's actually March 21st, International Day of Elimination of Racial Discrimination. So I'll be hosting a cross-Canada conversation for Black Canadians this Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. So just follow me. And I did forget, if you want to find out more about me, just go to the website, thedrvibeshow.com. God bless, peace and well, keep the faith, and walk good. Bye-bye, everybody.